Hey everyone, GNT here with a very special guest today. I'm really excited. It's Cung Le. So, very nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to do a little interview today. We're going to start by Cung telling us a little bit about himself.
Hello everyone. I'm going to start when I was 2.5 because that's what I remember. I basically came over here a week before the fall of Saigon. US government says you either leave or you can stay and be executed. So we left. We spent our first 3 months in the Philippines in a refugee camp there. Then we went to Guam. Then from Guam we went to Monterey and we stayed there for a year, and then we moved to San Jose. But from there I was bullied in all the way till I was 10, and my mom put me in Taekwondo. We went out looking for a school, but I wasn't consistent because she was working 2 jobs. So the highest I got was yellow belt. But then I found wrestling. I was a high school All-American, junior college All-American. Then I went back to Taekwondo, and from Taekwondo I found Sanshou or Sandao, which is a Chinese style full contact. From wrestling and Taekwondo, I was able to put the styles together and was very successful. Turned pro in 1998, fought for this Russian fight league called Draka. Then I was signed on by Scott Coker, who's now the Bellator president. I fought for Strikeforce for many years. Did my first pro MMA fight for Strikeforce and won the title against Frank Shamrock. Then eventually went over to the UFC, and now I am here in this room telling you all about it.
How do you stay in such great shape?
Okay, how do I stay in such great shape? I am 44 years old, and staying in shape is a lot more work now because I don't recover as quick. But you know what? Why don't I just show you what I do to stay in such great shape, and me and Aaron can work out together, and I'll show you some of the stuff I do for my health and fitness and some of my kung fu stuff.
Awesome. What keeps you motivated and driven since you've achieved so much already?
Knowing that I can wake up every day, and when I do wake up I see a roof over my head, and when I walk to my kids' room I can see them waking up or still asleep, and I open the refrigerator and there's food in there for me to feed them. Even though I didn't cook the food and my lovely wife cooked all the food, I could make some really good scrambled eggs though.
He's getting brownie points from the missus now.
No, but I truly mean that. I don't need to get brownie points from her. She always gives me brownies, and sometimes too much, and I gotta keep in shape. But that's what keeps me motivated, is my family and my love for the sport of martial arts, and this just love what I get to do. I love that I've been blessed with another day when I wake up. So I live life to the fullest, and every day I make sure I think about all the positive things I have instead of the negative, because I've been blessed with another day.
Who has been your most difficult opponent and why?
I would have to say my toughest opponent, because mentally and physically I didn't think I was ready for the fight. Of course, I'm not sure if you guys know the name Frank Shamrock. I fought him for the Strikeforce middleweight title. Before I went into the fight, he was already playing games. He was putting stuff on YouTube back then and making fun of me. So already in my head, I was already a little bit psyched out. And of course, he was a UFC middleweight champion, former champion. And when I stepped inside the cage, I looked across the cage, he was pacing back and forth. And that's kind of like, that was the first time I realized that, oh shit, I'm about to fight Frank Shamrock. And before that, I threw up, and that really never happened before in any kind of competition, whether it's wrestling or Taekwondo or Sanshou. I threw up, but when we started fighting, the first time he hit me really hard, split open my lip, I knew I had a fight. And I thought of all the bullies that picked on me, and I think that helped out. And I won the title after that, but we both ended up in the emergency room.
What is your proudest moment, apart from family-related stuff, of course?
Okay, let me think in my head. There's been some good moments for me, but I would have to say when I fought Frank Shamrock and beat him by way of TKO, broken arm, that was definitely one of the proudest moment of my career, my life, and that was definitely the biggest game changer in my career as a martial artist, and that's got to be hands down number one besides my family.
Any words of inspiration for upcoming martial artists, actors, stunt performers? You kind of do it all, so any words of advice?
My word of advice for martial artists is keep your mind open, because once you think you know it all, that's your downfall. And martial arts is basically you'll always be the student of the game. There's really no masters out there. There's a lot of people who say they're masters, but they can actually still learn. And just keep your mind open, because you'll always be able to learn and learn more, and then the more you learn, the more you can give back. For actors out there, this is a tough business. Make sure you have thick skin and have confidence in yourself and have faith. And of course, practice your craft, acting, your physical abilities, and your martial arts. For the stunt guys, be safe. Don't get too crazy, because all it takes is one time and you can be seriously injured.
Do you struggle with any techniques?
I struggle with a lot of techniques.
I think we all do, don't we? So.
I think the biggest thing is the 720 stuff, what Aaron does really good. I've tried it a few times, and I think when I landed, I rolled my ankle and I said, no, I think that stuff is not for me. I think I'm just gonna have to kind of, strong arm everything through, or muscle it through, or just work on the techniques that I have, and keep the longevity going. But I like to understand how the movement goes, and I'm a student of the game, like I mentioned earlier. Learning in martial arts is a never-ending process, so whether I could do it or not, I want to learn how it's done and why it's done and what are the benefits and what are of course the negatives, because sometimes if you land wrong, you can pop your ankle or blow your knee.
What do you have planned for the future?
I have a lot of things planned for the future, but right now we're in Ireland. I'm with Aaron, the Ginger Ninja, and we are, every day we wake up, we enter the Badlands. And we got to get through the Badlands before anything else happens, but my next plan after this is, of course, providing you with some kick-ass content with me and Ginger Ninja, and we're doing that right now. But the next plan I got is I'm working with Izeka Shield. They supply like movie theaters or shopping malls with security, but at the same time they do private security for big names. I can't say who. We're gonna try to get our message out there about a warrior's code. A warrior doesn't mean that you have to fight or you know how to shoot or you know how to do combat. It's the code in a person. If they're willing to help someone or do something that is positive for the world. And that's how I look at it. It's like my warrior's code. And that's my next project. Of course, there's a few films hopefully take place by next year, if not the year after. But I'll be working with producers like Lucas Foster, who produced Man on Fire, Mr. and Mr. Smith. And there's so much to tell you, but I think I'll leave it there so you guys can keep up with what I got going on right now.
For the last bit, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go for a speed range. So I'm just going to say something like what's your favourite food, for example, and then you just say the first thing that comes to mind. You just say nice and fast, and then I'm going to give you options, something or something, and then you've got to say which you prefer. So there's no explanations, nothing, it's just a speed round.
Let's stretch out real quick. There we go.
Right, okay, you ready?
Yep.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite junk food?
Chocolate.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite kick?
Spinning back kick.
Favorite punch?
Spinning back fist.
Punches or kicks?
Both.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, kicks.
Handguns or rifles?
Handguns.
Handguns or fists?
Fists.
Kung Fu or Taekwondo?
Kung Le style.
Fighting or acting?
Acting and fighting in a movie.
Oh, that's a good one. Look at that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Tough one.
that concludes our interview. It's been a pleasure having you, and I'm sure everyone's going to be interested in everything you've had to say today, and more questions are going to be answered on your channel. That's right as well, isn't it?
Yes, more questions will be answered on my channel.
So make sure you go to his YouTube channel, which I will put a link in there now, and subscribe for more cool videos from Cung Le.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well.